Hello and welcome to Anything Goes. I hope everyone's doing all right out there tonight. An hour earlier for some, an hour later for some. It's 11 o'clock for me. Jason, it's same time for you.
Same time for me, yeah.
Welcome, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Daniela?
I'm good. As I said, it's 11 o'clock. I'm awake.
Yeah.
I'm lively, bright, chatty. This is what happens before you get me before midnight. So
I know. Well, now I don't even know what to do with you. You're like all chipper, and you're not like, I want to kill everyone and I want to eat babies.
Yeah, not like that. That's another 58 minutes to go, and I'll be feeling exactly like that. But at the moment, I'm feeling good. Hello to everyone in the chat, and hello to all you lit up in green. And thank you for becoming members of the channel.
Gotcha.
The Hidden Existence family. Although everybody is part of the Hidden Existence family, and it doesn't matter if you don't join or if you do join. All you get, you still get everything, but you get the little extra emoji things and stuff like that. If you become a member, so it's up to you guys. Right, what we were going to start with was I got something exciting in the post. Was the Ancestry Dna Kit. So I'm going to be sending that off tomorrow with my saliva. That's been
your what?
Saliva.
Say that again.
Saliva. Spit.
You spit.
What do you call it? Spit?
No, we call it saliva.
All right. Was that what I was saying?
Sort of, but you were saying it in a British way, so it's not right. Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, this will be interesting. We'll to see what my DNA is, what it's made up of, and I'm hoping that there's no English in there. Not because I've got anything against the Brits.
I think it'll come back 100% Brit. Actually, here's my guess. I think you're going to come back 40% Caucasus, sort of like that Caucasus Mountains, that sort of early, sort of northern Black Sea area. I think you're going to be 20% northern North Africa. I think you're going to be 10% Scandinavian.
I've got to be more. I've got to be more African. Do you not think? Or a bit more percent? I don't know. Go on, carry on.
So let's see, it was 40, 20, 10. So that leaves us with another 30%. So then I think you're also going to be, we're going to find out I think you're probably another 20% Scandinavian is what would be in there. I think there's at least 3% three-toed sloth. And then probably like the remaining part is going to be like Australian Aborigine.
Quite a mix. Quite a mix.
Well, your family's been from places. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to find out. Just need to say thank you, Mike's Adventures. Thank you very much for that. Very kind. Oh, got a new member. Batmom. Thank you, Batmom. I appreciate you.
No.
You've got in Zodiac Nation. How are you doing? Now then, what did I just see?
Well, actually, Raptor Crazy had a great question, and the thing is, she's not from Britain originally. Well, her family's not.
Okay, where was the question?
He said he thought most British people came from Vikings, and actually, that is not the case. Most Brits are
Anglo-Saxon.
Anglo-Saxon, the northern where you get to the Scots, then you have Celtic and with some Viking mixed in. Viking here, but yeah, the Highland Scots were Vikings, but the others were, which is actually not the proper name. It's just what we call them now. But yeah, no, she's actually not. Her family's not originally from Britain. You are from Italy, and where again?
Poland. My mum was born in Belarus, which wasn't Poland. I think it's now part of Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia. Yeah. I'm not sure. Somewhere.
I think it's in Yugoslavia now.
It's not Belarus anymore, is it? Judy Wheeler. Hello, Daniela. I did mine too. It's exciting. So please, Judy, tell me what your parents are. what your results were, or roughly what they were, and were you surprised at what you found out? Tanya Johnson, thank you. Welcome to the fam. Yeah, so I'm excited. I haven't got a clue. Ask my brother what's the most shocking country, because I said to my brother, he's not putting him doing it. We've got to have the same results. We've got,
Actually, not exactly.
Okay.
Because so here's the weird thing, because there were some triplets, and they've done this with twins as well. You would expect them to be identical because they're identical twins, but they're not. There will be the percentages will be slightly off, because it's not just like you're not 50-50, right?
Different DNA as well. So
yeah,
it's those little bits that will make the difference. We've got to be roughly there, do you not think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think his wouldn't come back necessarily like, like it's like, oh, congratulations, there's this giant peat, like 50% of you comes from Argentina. Like, that's not going to happen, right? It's not like he's going to have something that you wouldn't have, but the percentages would be off because again, you're inheriting different bits and pieces and different percentages, and really even the whole question of this. I've heard a lot of work from geneticists who said this whole thing is kind of sketchy, because it's kind of hard to know what the real percentages are, right? It's close, like, but they're like don't make it out to be 100%. Like, this is everything you need to know about you, kind of a thing.
Well, Paul Holland. Hi, Paul. He's done his 31 Southeast England, 29 Irish, 15 Welsh, 13
So you're
Scottish.
white, is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm reading.
Paul, are you in Australia? I think Paul's in Australia. I think so.
Which would make sense for that to be the case.
Yeah, because who's Australian?
Criminals.
Unless you're criminals, ex-prisoners, yeah. Or if you're an Aborigine. Are you actually, is that Australian?
Yeah.
Are they actual Australians, the Aborigines?
Yes.
With the first, so that is
well, the group we would call Australian Aborigines, yes, they are the original, and they were the only inhabitants until the Europeans showed up. But the thing is that what we call Australian Aborigines, that was basically all of Southeast Asia until the sort of what we would consider the Asiatic groups, like the Chinese, until they moved in. That's why there does seem to be a difference between, say, your Southeast Asian populations and your mainland China, right? Because there was a lot of interbreeding between the group that we would call Aborigines in those areas. But yeah, the Asiatics moved in, and this goes back to the whole question about China, right? We sort of see China as a Asian population, but you go back far enough, there were you could call them white Russians, sort of that sort of Russian group that was all mixed in there. It was a very diverse place. The Ainu, and so here, which even gets weirder, because the Ainu, their closest relatives, we would consider them to be, like, a lot of people thought they were white Russian until we got some good DNA on them. They're more closely related to people out of Africa. There's a tribe in Africa. It's a very small haplogroup. It's very, very strange, but they're in Africa, they're black, but in northern Japan, where these Ainu are, they look white. So it just goes to show that it's like these are radically different things, and we oversimplify this whole question of human origins. I mean, we just do, right? So the group that's there is not the group that started off there.
No. I was going to say the Russians. They do look slightly Asian, don't they? They have a weird. You wouldn't think it. Because I connect it to Germany, Poland, Russia, but yeah, it just shows you how.
Well, think about how big Russia is. Yeah, I mean, just something to think about it. It's massive.
Yeah.
It's all across Asia.
My mum was born in England. My father French Canadian. No, your name didn't give it away. French Canadian. Tell me why is the French in Canada? What is the link there? I actually don't know.
Oh, okay. So, like, history lesson? I mean,
yeah. Well, let's condense
It gave the French, from my estimation, gave the French somewhere else to be that's not where I am. That's what I figure.
All right,
So, okay, so it's where everything, it goes back to when Europe was discovering the New World and really moving over here in mass. Certain nations claim certain areas, right? Well, the French is because the British were south, the French went north. And so they went into Canada. And so France took over Canada initially. The British were in south, what we'd call the Americas, or the United States now. But so were the French. They got Louisiana. The Spanish were there, and then you had Brazil, right? Of course, Spain had all of Mexico, Central America, and large portions of South America, with the Portuguese having Brazil. In fact, there's a interesting conspiracy theory that I think is pretty much true, that Portugal actually knew about Brazil, and that they knew about that long before Columbus even came here. And there's an argument that Columbus himself was actually Portuguese. I think we've talked about this before, that he was actually Portuguese, and basically Portugal let Spain fund their agent to sort of map out more of the Americas for them, instead of incurring the cost themselves.
Right. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah. Long story short, they just wanted part of the New World, but they just had to go where the British weren't, because the French and the Brits, they did not get along for a long time.
Jean got back to me. Judy says, Daniela, English, Scot, Polish, Welsh, Russian. That's quite a mix.
Well, but again, you got English, Scot, English. Think about it.
English,
Scot, Welsh. That's all basically in the same area. Polish, Russian, all basically the same area. So that's exact. And then you'd expect someone from particularly World War II or even before, during the Bolshevik Revolution, you expect someone from Poland or Russia, because again, you can't really not knowing exactly who's coming from where, to have gone to England. Again, there's reason if she's here in the United States. Obviously, both families would have come over here at some point, so makes sense.
Yeah. I haven't paid the extra bit, Susan. I might do when I get my results back, but I don't know who'd be looking for me. I mean,
probably somebody who you owe money to.
Exactly. That's why I'm not going to pay the extra bit and stay hidden. Hidden existence. That's what it's all about. You see, it's all
emphasis on the hidden. Emphasis on the hidden.
Exactly. Strangeland says there's a small island a couple of miles off Newfoundland called Saint Pierre, and still part of France.
Right? Did not know that.
No, I did not know that.
Is it like a territory, sort of like the whole Falkland Island thing? Interesting.
Tell us. Let us know, Strangeland, please. So yeah, well, anyway, I'm going to send it off. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I get my results online apparently when they come. So I will be revealing them, looking at them when I get them on Anything Goes. I will wait until the show, and we can do it together and see. What was going to touch on? I was going to touch on something really sad that's happened in the UK.
I'd seen some stuff on this, but I wasn't very aware. So, yeah, fill us in.
So basically, a lady, 33-year-old woman, 3rd of March, goes to visit a friend, leaves in the evening to go home. It's about an hour's journey walking home, and she just disappears. And then luckily, she was caught on CCTV that evening, and also a marked police car caught her on camera at something like 9:32. And literally 3 minutes later, the bus camera captures her with somebody else with a white car with the 2 doors open. And another bus captures this vehicle, and luckily the registration number. And it turns out he's a diplomatic protection officer, he's officer of the Met, 48-year-old guy who's kidnapped and murdered this woman. And they've eventually found a body like 9 days later, found in a builder's bag. And there was absolute outpour of, you know, sympathy and outrage as well. This was scenes like in where it happened in Clapham. And I get it that this is the area, this is Clapham Common where she was walking through, and the emphasis I think at the moment is that this was a policeman. And while I get it, yeah, that's awful as a policeman, but there's no kind of fit for a murderer, is there? And there's lots of doctors and famous people that we think, you know, you put these labels on people and think that they're perfect or they're good, but actually murderers can be your next door neighbor. It can be anybody.
Well, one of the largest, one of the most successful serial killers in history. It was actually a British doctor.
Yeah, Shipman.
It was, yeah, exactly. He was just, you know, he picked his targets in such a way that essentially no one noticed. It's now. So this situation with this guy, he was a, what kind of officer was he?
It was a police officer, but he was working as a diplomatic protection officer.
Gotcha.
A diplomat protection officer, sorry. So he'd be working with, you know,
diplomats and foreign dignitaries and stuff like that.
So I'm going to be interested to see. What's interesting about this is the day before she went missing, he did his last shift and he was going on leave, holiday, you know, taking holiday. And a couple of days later, he emails his boss to say that he's still feeling really stressed out. And the day later, he emails his boss again and says that he doesn't want to carry a gun anymore. So there's some really weird things. She's obviously died within these 9 days, or I don't know when he's done it, but I'm figuring he's done it really quick. And then suddenly he's having these. I'm you know, really want to know what brings you to do something like this. You know, especially as a police officer working and understanding the impact of, you know, a death of a young woman or anybody. I just don't get it. You know, it's very sad to see this, and you know what the heck goes on in people's minds.
I don't know. Have they said anything about, like, because I saw a lot of these things and people are saying the system killed her, and it kind of doesn't. So you could make that argument if he had like a reason to pull her over or something had gone bad. But it seems like this guy chose her to murder
it doesn't look
her.
like he was in a work capacity. Doesn't even feel like he was even working around there or anything. This seems like a chance thing. What's even sadder about this is, and I realised we're in lockdown at the moment. We've been in lockdown for weeks, feels like months, and we've still got another like 4 weeks to go. And these women were out last night just trying to show support, and a lot of them were arrested because of this lockdown rules where you're not allowed to gather. And it ended up being quite, I mean, apparently it was quite a peaceful protest till the police turned up, and then it went a bit crazy and it just turned into like just not what it was intended to be in the first place. I know there's a lockdown on, and a lot of them look like they had masks on, but you know, there's a point, isn't there? I mean, I don't know if you're feeling it. We're feeling it here. There's no shops open. All we've got is supermarkets. We're not allowed to travel anywhere. We can go outside and exercise. I can maybe go a couple of miles down the road to go and exercise, or to go down to the beach to walk with the dog. But that's all we can do here at the moment. And it's been like this 4 weeks, pretty much a year. We've had this on and off, but literally this part of the year, people are going stir crazy. You know, there's a limit to, all right, we're abiding by the rules, but, you know, we're being deprived of just
Everything.
I mean, I feel like I can't even go and see a sunset every night. So it shouldn't cost me anything or anybody anything. And you know, I want to go for walks. I want to go up the mountain, up the road, and we can't do it. And it's just, you know,
I'm in
So,
Texas, so yeah,
yeah,
we're actually open. I mean,
yeah.
sorry. So, but here's the thing. Okay, so this is gonna sound like I'm steering away from this event, and I'm not. But give me a second on this.
Mm.
One of the things they've noticed with all these lockdowns, which I don't even want to debate the efficacy of them or not. Just let's put all that to the side. We are seeing enormous rates of depression, enormous rates of suicidality, of all kinds of mental illness, particularly in those who are younger. This is not how society is supposed to work. This is not how humans work. Is it possible? Again, we don't know. We don't know anything about this guy. This guy could have been doing stuff for years.
Mm.
That's the worst part about all this. When you have murder, like this could have been, we don't know what this was, right? We don't know his motives. We don't know what happened. He could have picked this chick up for thinking it was going to be a good time, and something goes wrong, and he's going to cover, and he goes and covers up. We don't know what this is, right? This could be like his 30th victim for all we know, or could be his first, or this could have just been an accident that he freaked out about. We just don't know. But I am actually, one of the things that worries me is not only has suicide go up, I'm wondering if stuff like this hasn't really damaged a lot of people. That these lockdowns, this intense, has actually taken those who maybe needed help to begin with, but then you've isolated them. You've made them afraid, which means for an entire year they've got fight or flight going all the time. There's no place that's safe. You're forcing this fear on everyone that I wouldn't be surprised if stuff like this has actually been going on a lot more than we realize.
Mm.
Here in the U.S., a lot of murder rates have gone up, and part of that is definitely because of the anti-police rhetoric that's been going on and the defunding the police. The criminals, though, they can just get away with it, so they're out. I mean, murder is up in a lot of places, but you take that out, I think a lot of this is still, I think a lot of people have been pushed over the edge because this is literally, I mean, this is torture. Isolating people away from humanity. I have a friend who lives in Austin. It's a 3-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive from where I'm at. Like, we're having to talk almost most of the time every day, sometimes, a couple times a week. Because he's in his 40s, but he's not married, doesn't have kids or anything, so it's just him by himself. And he's talking to his uncle every night because his uncle is sort of the same thing, but he's older, right, in his 70s, but he doesn't have any family, and it's like it's wearing on people. I wouldn't, again. So we don't know what this guy is, and I like to withhold judgment on all things until we have actual information. But it does seem, but I would not be surprised if a lot of this is prompted by this insanity of this lockdown.
It's quite possible. It's it's contributed to it. I mean, we've never had anything like this, as in the turnout.
Mm-hmm.
It's because she was alone. A female should be able to walk at any time, day or night, through London, through anywhere, without fear, feeling protected? Or is it because there's a police officer? Because there has actually been a couple of murders in my town recently, just out of town, only 6 miles away. An elderly lady was killed at home, and we don't see the same kind of outpour about it.
Mm-hmm.
This has really hit people, I think, and it's certainly the biggest news I've heard since all this COVID stuff and your politics and whatever else has been going on. So I don't know. It's really sad. Just want to say thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. Showing some love.
Good man.
Yeah.
So real quick, so let me get really cynical for just a moment. I mean, really cynical. Is it maybe because this gave people a chance to express love and whatever and support and sort of speak? But the reason it was this woman versus others was, we know, she was a very young and attractive woman, right? That's always a thing. So that's instant sympathy. We know that and we know the criminal's white. and a police officer. It allowed everyone to go, okay, we don't have to feel bad about this, because how many? I mean, the rape ring that was discovered in Britain that was suppressed by the British government and the British news site, news things y'all do in the BBC, because the rape ring was Muslim. They weren't, and they suppressed all that information. Like you said, woman down the street, recent murders, elderly people in their home. That's not. How much of this is just everyone felt safe complaining about this?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. Sorry, I'm just trying to write something here.
No, go for it. Yeah, I mean that is.
But yeah. It'll be interesting to see what comes out. But at the end of the day, there's no excuse for killing anyone, for a start. But this lockdown thing is, and my hair, I've had my hair cut for a year. You can see just what a state it's getting into. I mean, this is the worst thing, actually, is my hair.
Yeah, it's your hair. That's really the shame about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, so someone had said, if someone's, being assaulted, sort of the whole problem with this whole situation is, from the setup, it doesn't necessarily sound like he assaulted her, at least on the street. Like, it sounds like whatever happened may have happened away from prying eyes. It seems like,
actually, she hasn't gone through the park, because they saw her on the camera. It looks like she's been dragged into a car or put into a car from the street within 3 minutes.
Yeah,
because she was spotted on the police camera, and then she was spotted 3 minutes later on the bus camera with the 2 doors open on this car, 2 front doors open on the car, and 2 people, one of which was her, and they've got the registration, luckily. So I think that's how they caught it. But they've charged him with kidnap and murder. So he's who knows? She might have known him. She might have known him. She
may have known him. Exactly.
You don't know.
Or she could have said, "This guy's a police officer. He's going to offer me a ride home." He could have picked her up, like, "Hey, you want to go have some beers at a COVID-friendly bar?" Whatever, We don't know how this went. That's the problem. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, I would have intervened." You don't know that there would have been a reason for you to intervene, right? Like, we don't know. That's the real problem. We don't know. Now what he did to her clearly happened somewhere else. But the people who are saying, well, they would have intervened, or it's like, we don't know that there would have been a reason to intervene. She could have gotten. It sounds like she really got into the car, sort of maybe voluntarily. So, or there wasn't anyone really around to have intervened. Like this, we don't know the story here. We don't know what happened. No. So it's just, that's the problem. We can't say what happened.
Well, I will be keeping an eye on it and keeping us up to date if you're interested. It's just, I'm fascinated with these crimes. I think they're terrible, but it just fascinates me what goes on in people's mind, and why they have to be drawn to doing something like that, So I don't know. I need to thank someone else before I miss the these. I only get to see so many of these comments, and then they disappear.
Oh, really?
At the top of the thing. I think you only get 50 in StreamYard, and then they disappear. So if I've just got one stuck at the top there, because I want to don't want to move down because it will go otherwise. And I've ended up. Here we go, Barbara Ann Breen. Thank you very much. She's challenging everyone to hit that thumbs up. So, guys, the challenge is on.
It's been thrown down.
It's been thrown down.
Gauntlet is thrown.
Look, I'd love to try this out. I've got 93 watching and 57 thumbs. So 57 likes. Can I get 93 likes? Can I get it? Even a dislike doesn't matter. Up, down, anyone will do for me. You're right, Loretta. It's becoming, almost like dreadlocks. Could be, that might, be easier, isn't it? Just get them all dreaded. But thanks, Loretta, for pointing that out.
So somebody mentioned, I guess to answer your, sort of in response to your question of what makes people do this, he mentioned childhood trauma. I mean, yeah, there is some
Loretta met her hair. I'm sorry. I thought
oh no.
Mine. Oh, I understand,
Yeah.
Loretta. I know. It's we're all in it together. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And the thing is, certainly that's it for some people. But you look at a lot of these serial killers, people who do this. There doesn't really seem to be many over. I mean, there are certain things that are overlapping, right? But it depends on what they are, right? That's the problem. Is we try to put everyone in the same box, and there isn't. There are certain things, but it's not always trauma. Sometimes, I mean, there are people who are born basically psychotic. There are people who are made psychotic. There are people who choose to be. I mean, there's so many different things here. So that's what I'm saying. People are like, it's got to be this. Like, I know there's a lot of different boxes that these people come from. That's the real problem. There's a lot of boxes. And then here's where it gets crazy, right? You go back. There are people who've done a lot of research into a lot of these MK Ultra experiments from the 70s and late 60s, early 70s. It is nuts. It does seem like they were able to create some sort of psychopathy with some of these experiments. And the problem is we don't really like. The problem is a lot of people think, okay, MK Ultra, that means they were able to turn people into secret assassins. That didn't really seem to be what happened, but they did seem to genuinely create things that they weren't really able to control. I forget the guy's name. He wrote a book about this, but on Charles Manson, and sort of tracking a bunch of stuff down. And there's a lot of evidence that Manson was part of this program, that he was because the people were stepping in law enforcement to take him out of prison and get him on the streets. Like he was being controlled and handled in some way. So this goes back to the problem. There's a lot of boxes a lot of these people are fitting into. Some of it is childhood trauma. Some people have other psychological issues. Some people, it may be brain damage from drugs. Some people, I think, really is legitimately demonic possession or even influence, not necessarily possession. I think there are a lot of people who aren't possessed, but they got them, right? Mm-hmm. They're they like their demons. I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of boxes, and we can't necessarily assume anything on this. It's just too easy to assume, and the problem is there's a lot of boxes we got to choose from.
Yeah. But it's still a choice, isn't it, what they do? Because those won't be classed as mentally insane or they've got conditions, but they know right from wrong. Yep. So it's that choice, isn't it? Making that, and for some, making it lots of times. Then, going to extremes of what people do. It's just crazy.
Insane. It is. Really well, like you said, but crazy means not knowing right from wrong. I was actually listening to a gentleman who had he is a clinically diagnosed psychopath or sociopath. I think it's sociopath, but he had even assaulted his father with a ball peen hammer when he was 15. That's when they realized that he was off the rails. And he got help, and the thing that he's actually a Christian now, and he's ministering to people, and that's one of the things that he was interviewed. Like, how can you have a wife and children now? And he's like, I don't feel the emotion of love. He's physically incapable of it. He goes, but that's not what love is. And he actually has a really interesting diatribe or talk about how love is about wanting what's best for people. He goes, I don't feel the emotion everyone else does. He goes, but I do want the best for my family. I want the best for people. I can love them. And he even talks about it. It's like, it's straight up a choice. He goes, the problem was I couldn't understand, or he couldn't understand that what was right, necessarily right or wrong, because it wasn't explained to him in a way that he could understand, because his brain just works radically different. There's no emotional connection there. So he's the first one to say, yeah, there's absolutely a choice that's made. Not everyone who has these disorders are inherently violent or will go and kill someone, but it's just they're detached. And the problem is you either get them the treatment they need so they can make the right decisions, or they can go weird. Or again, you put someone like that in a bad situation. Maybe you imprison them in their own home, make them feel fear and dread and all the. What do you think is going to happen to these people?
Jeffrey Dahmer was another one who just didn't feel anything.
Didn't care.
Didn't feel anything. Didn't bother him. Didn't.
He enjoyed it.
Yeah. Just noticed here, Nicole Perron hasn't seen friends or family in a year. Lots of people like that. It's horrible. It is. It's not good, is it? Not having hugs and contact with your family and people that you know. I did see another one there. I'm just going to see if I can find it quick. No, I can't. Oh, hi Meredith. Our world is full of way too much evilness, and I pray divine intervention from all evilness on our planet. Prayers for all families and friends. Oh, doesn't surprise me coming from him.
Yeah, I'm a little shaggy today. You know.
A little shaggy. Daniela, that's the way everybody's roots for showing their hair. It is. Right. Someone gave me a thumbs down. Thank you. I did ask for it and I got one. So I appreciate that. So it was a serial killer, but this isn't the Zodiac that we're talking about. Thank heavens for that. Are people mistaking you for him? That's not good. That's not good. You'll have to. Right. What we were going to do, we're going to just end with a bit of fun, random questions.
Yes, go for them.
Go for it. I needed to download something first. Can you talk for 30 seconds while I do something?
I refuse.
Oh, please. No. Please.
No.
Please.
We're going to sit here in the silence and let the silence.
Please, instead of what I'm looking for. Oh, Jason, I can't believe you're doing this to me. It's fine. It's fine. I can talk and write at the same time. I think I'm making sense. I'm not sure. I just need to find the thing. Can't find it.
No, you can't.
Okay, well, let's ask a question then. What's expensive but totally worth it?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. So here's the weird thing. I don't do a lot of expensive things or really want a lot of expensive things. Okay, hold on. It is sort of expensive. I just got my new drawing tablet, and I just downloaded the new program I'm going to use. That is so amazing. It is. I'm on the lower end of all this, so it wasn't as expensive as it could get. But I am telling you, these programs are amazing. You can watercolor, ink, chalk, whatever you want. You can do it on these tablets. You can do them in layers. There's a part of this program where you can actually do, it doesn't even take much. It'll auto color something for you. Like if you just tell, okay, I want these colors in these places. The AI recognizes okay, you're drawing a person, you're drawing a car, and lays a lot of that out. So then you come up and finish and tighten it up. It's insane. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. What about you guys? Someone said lobster tail. Is that expensive?
I guess it can be.
Wrong end of the stick.
I don't eat cockroaches. I don't eat the cockroaches of the sea.
Let's not talk about those little things. Oh, the cockroaches of the sea, right? Got you. Yeah. I was thinking about my frozen little cockroaches. They weren't cockroaches. Keep forgetting what they're called.
Crickets.
Yeah. Poor little things.
So for you, what is your expensive thing that's totally worth it?
Expensive but worth it. I don't know because I'm not a big spender. I'm not a big spender, but I think some things you need to pay more for. Not everything, but there's some things. Shoes, I think. Got to buy decent shoes for me. I know that sounds daft, but I would spend more on shoes than other things.
Yep.
Just stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not a big spender, so bedding, cotton. Get cotton every time. Don't get the polyester because it's little things like that. Get the Egyptian cotton thread. Spend a little bit more.
Well, think about it with shoes. Like I'm right there with you on the shoes. My father, because we were mechanics growing up. You're literally on your feet 12, 14 hours a day. SAS shoes were they were expensive for what we would buy back in the day, but totally worth it. Like you could be on your feet all day and you could move. It was I'm right there with you. It's like spend the money on. Go cheap on the things that that don't matter, but the things that you're gonna spend your life in, like your sheets, your shoes, put your money in the quality, not necessarily. It's like this is the prettiest shoe ever. Who cares? Most pretty shoes aren't comfortable.
Yeah, you're gonna break your neck, or your ankle in those 6-inch pretty shoes that you have.
That's why I stopped wearing them.
Jason. I know, and I'm glad. Yeah. But yeah, I think shoes are important. What you put on your feet is, comfort.
Yeah.
Shoes for every occasion, isn't there? And you should wear them for those occasions.
Yeah.
There was a question for you actually from Zach. If I can find it again, because it's quite a lot of. Susan says helicopter flight in Alaska, landing on a glacier, getting out and drinking the glacier. Oh, drinking the glacier water. What's so special about that water? Do you think there's something amazing?
I have no idea. I wouldn't know. I would imagine the idea is that it's pure, but I mean, it's out there in the open. I don't know.
It would be. Yeah, you'd think it would be pure, wouldn't you?
But would it be? I mean, really? Just saying.
It depends where it's flowing from, where it's come from, I don't know. Because there's something about like snow. You shouldn't just melt snow and drink it, should you? You need to purify it.
Well, I don't know if it would necessarily need to be purified, but I mean, it is collecting dust and particles. That's why the snow even. So I don't know. I'm gonna just say, look, if it's cool, it's cool. Not my thing. I've never been. I used to like snow until until a month ago. So now I'm less enthused. Yeah.
Max says a good scotch, and he's not shouting, he's just emphasizing the good. Yeah, I think with alcohol, spend a bit more. Like me, I don't drink cheap wines, not because there's anything wrong with them, but for me, physically, my stomach cannot tolerate those cheap wines that are made. But something more expensive. What can I hear? Sorry, something going on behind me. Misty, expensive and totally worth it. QOR watercolors. I've never heard of QOR. I've just recently got what's the one beginning with D? They're expensive. I can't remember the name now. It'll come to me. I got a peacock blue because I heard it was a really nice pigments. But QOR, I will have to have a look at those. Where was the question for you? And it was from. No, it wasn't that. Sorry, Larry.
I think it was further up.
Further. Yeah, I am going up now. Oh, here we go. It's going too fast. Jason, what's the best thing you experienced in life?
Most memorable.
Apart from coming and co-hosting anything.
Well, clearly co-hosting anything goes.
Yeah, goes without saying.
Okay, so there's two. Okay, this is going to sound like a bit of a cheat, but it's not. My memory's terrible. I really don't. My memory is absolutely awful. The things obviously do stick out, but more importantly, it's usually whatever's most necessary is what sticks in my head, right? For the longest, for me, the thing that's the most memorable, the thing that really stands out. I mean, birth of my kids, my wedding. I mean, those are things that matter in life. Getting rolled over in my car last year or year before last now. You know, it's like, I know it's tribe, but or it's, I don't think it's tribe. I think it's just universal, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, seeing pterodactyl, seeing a living pterosaur was memorable, but at the same time, if I'm going to look back, like, what are the things that really stick out? It's going to be the birth of my kids and my wedding. And those are things that matter. It's the people in your life.
Mm.
I mean, truth be told, and okay, I'm gonna. So this is why you have me on the show. It's weird tirades like this. I'd love to be the guy who's like, boom, here's the living pterodactyl, and boom, here's Bigfoot, and here's all this weird stuff I've discovered, and I've got it all. Like, I'd love to be the guy who has all that, who has all the answers for that, and here's the evidence for it. We'd all love to be that. Who cares? When you're dead, you're dead. It's the people in your life. Like I said, I'm going to make sure I don't use any names here, but again, my friend who I mentioned earlier, his uncle that he's talking to, he's in his 70s. He never got married, never had kids. He's not estranged from his, from the rest of his family, but he's also not necessarily, synced up with them. And that really seems to be, it's hit him hard. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of pain there. And it's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you've achieved in life if there's no family with you. Like, maybe you've done some great things and it's something you can rest your head. It's like, I was a firefighter and saved all these lives and I did all these. Great. Then you can hang your head on that. Right. But it's still not going to mean that when you're alone at the end, that you're going to necessarily feel that. So for me, it's kids, it's family. That's where it is.
Yeah, that's interesting because there's a question here, and it's what makes you strong. And I think this is connected to something that you're saying in a way that emotions and feelings is what makes you strong, is experiencing really highs, really, really big lows. And, I think, it's about feeling, like you say, you can't take anything with you. You can take your memories, but also experiencing the things you have, memorable things like watching the birth of your kids. That's going to change you a little bit. So experiences are really important to have to make you understand, or to give you a glimpse of of life and important things. And maybe some people don't feel like they'll experience all the stuff that other people do. Humility, isn't it? Is understanding, having a bit more, not about thinking less of yourself, but just thinking of yourself less. Yeah. To experience other things that go on in life, I think this is kind of connected. I don't know if you're finding that link, but what makes you strong is experiences for me. I don't know why I've just dropped that in like that. It just kind of, something you were saying there just made me kind of resonate with that.
I've always said for that, high reps, low weight, right? Because you don't want the show muscle, right? Because everyone goes high weight but low reps, and it's like you just puff up. You're not really strong. Just saying. Yeah. But yeah, it's about community. It's about having those. Anyone, when my mother was dying, one of the things of cancer, one of the things my father told my sister is, they've run these psychological experiments where people together can actually absorb. They've done these experiments where they would hook people up to shock, electroshock things, and they would measure the pain, how much the pain tolerance was. Well, when people they knew they were doing it together, they could actually both handle way more pain than an individual human. What makes us strong, I believe, is, here's the problem. There's not one thing that makes us all strong, but ultimately I think it's being connected to the rest of humanity through your through your family, through faith, through community. You have to build those connections, because ultimately we're all no matter how strong you are, you're never strong enough.
No.
You need other people connecting, holding you together, but you can't, it's something that can't be forced either. You actually have to have that legitimate connection.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And like you say, people who, even if you think you're strong, you're not. You're not. You're definitely not. You know, we're all very fragile, really. Incredibly fragile, I think. And we don't always tap into that and realise, just like this girl losing her life, how quickly things can change overnight.
Yeah.
And that life now is just gone, and the knock-on effect for her family. And, you know, we really need to cherish what we've got around us a lot more, maybe, or, you know, appreciate every day that we have. I just wanted to go back again to Archie's paper. That's a treat. That is a treat. I've actually never bought Archie's paper, and I want to, and I don't know which one to get. I've kind of been in that. If I'm going to do it, which one am I going to do it on?
Cotton rag, the Archie's cotton rag. Yeah, the cold press. Oh, it's amazing.
Misty, you got me like salivating now thinking about it. Right, let me just go through, see if I've missed anything. What do you think we are here to learn? Spiritual. Is that a question for us? I thought there was another big one, sorry. Blah, blah, blah. I just feel like I'm just bothering on now and not helping me at all. Jason, what would you do? Come back. Can't find it. Help. What would you pass a day without phones or computers? What would you do to pass the day?
Well, if I didn't have a phone or computers, I certainly wouldn't be working. So if it was just me and I had a chance to do whatever I want, I'd probably go to a museum nearby, or I'd go paint. You know, it would depend. Or yard work. It really just, I mean, it's like if that's the only thing is I don't have computers or a phone, I'd go out because unfortunately most of my time is spent working right now. So
yeah, we're kind of tied down to them, aren't we? And phones, really, I mean, for anybody who lived, you know, like when I did before phones, when you didn't need the phone, you just rung your friend. You said you're going to meet him at a certain time, and you just go out and meet them. You couldn't cancel. You couldn't say, "Oh, I've decided not to go." No texting and that. And I think we had more fun. I think we had more fun as kids, especially just going out and enjoying the day and not even really looking down at anything. Did we have any more questions? Because I feel like I'm like flipping from one thing to another at the moment. Still early, you know, it's still early for me, and I'm all hyper, Jason. Okay. I've got this here now. I wanted to find that thing and download it, and I've done it. And this is a question for you, Jason. Well, obviously it's for you.
As for just one other thing is, if I didn't have a day without phones, whatever, and I could do whatever I wanted, assuming cost was no thing, I would actually love to go shooting, or I'd love to go fishing. I haven't been fishing in a long time.
I'd just love to go for a long walk somewhere out, you know, not in the middle of nowhere, but just somewhere beautiful, some mountains, lakes, maybe. Just, I would probably wouldn't use my phone anyway, need it, because there'd be no signal. But yeah. Right, this question. Should all art be considered real art? Yeah? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
These things that sell for like $2 million.
Yeah, exactly. So,
right?
All right. I see what you're doing. I see you. So here's the problem. I actually have no problem calling something that is absolute garbage art. I, however, believe in good art versus bad art. Now, we can have a nuanced conversation about what makes something good or bad art, right? We can. But yeah, artwork, like I have no problem calling it art, but that doesn't mean it has to be good. And here's the real problem with a lot of this: how, like, well, this sold for $2 million, and you're like, but it's ultimately it's not even about the art on that part. What it is, it's actually a tax dodge and money for the people. That's all it is. There's a long conversation about how it becomes a tax dodge, but it's a tax dodge. Because what happens is it gets donated to somebody or something, and they write it off in their taxes. Plus, it's a value. It's sort of always believed to appreciate. So, yeah, I looked at that and I'm like, you know what? None of it matters anyway.
No.
Because the great artists. Because think about it, most artists. Again, it's true. The great artists that they weren't recognized in their time anyway, and the ones that were. Great. I mean, but they're few and far between. So who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think that's art, but the dot.
Yeah,
it is just ridiculous. Right, this is a really serious one now to end on, and you're really going to have to think about this one. I think it's quite interesting.
I am prepared. I am fully prepared.
It's got a lot.
Hold on.
You ready?
Okay, make it happen.
Let's go. What would you do for a living if you were only an inch tall? There's scope for a lot of things here.
Yeah, there's so here's the thing. There's a lot of things you could probably do at an inch tall.
Detail. You'd be good for detail.
Really fine detail. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Like I imagine there's probably some kind of surgeries that you could do.
Oh yeah.
That you'd be really, really good. Like you wouldn't even have to be very good at it to be good at it, right? Because like you're sewing up this like for you, like for us, normally it would be like this tiny, tiny injury, and it's like we have to have the precision and like and working on like a brain, like in neurons. But if you're an inch tall, then it's this massive thing for you, and you're like, oh well, I've got this giant, and you can sew it up or whatever. So I think probably something like surgery would be invaluable. You wouldn't have to. You just have to be like, just tell me what to sew up.
Yeah. I thought painting, little detailing, painting and stuff like that. I mean,
but I think the surgery would make you way more cash.
Oh,
I mean, just think about the detail work you could do. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think like you'd be perfect for brain surgery.
If you were an inch tall and painted that, you make mega bucks.
Okay. There is a dude who actually carves like these really elaborate and intricate sculptures on number 2 pencils, like in the lead. Like he sharpens it.
They're incredible.
Yeah, they're nuts. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Are incredible.
But if you're only an inch tall, though, that sculpture becomes a lot less amazing. Just saying, because now it's like a normal size thing. It's like, well, here's a giant block of clay, and you're like, okay, I can do this. It's like it doesn't become. Although it's the novelty that you're 1 inch tall and making pencil art, probably.
Yeah. It'd take a long time as well, wouldn't it, with a big lump of clay like that? I got another super chat. I'm just going to go down and find it. Thank you very much. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Misty Bowers again. Sunday Huggles to the artsy creative people. That's all of us here. Creativity is intelligence, having fun. Albert Einstein gets attitudes and did he now? QOR. Well, I'm going to look into that. And I think we're all creative people here, aren't we? A lot of us are doing something with something, creating things.
I don't know about me, but I'm having a good time anyway.
You know you are. Right, guys.
The beard.
The beard. Thank you, Connie. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been all over the place tonight. But it's been interesting.
That's why it's anything goes.
Exactly. That's what it's anything goes.
Like we found out you're 2% like sloth, right? And probably like, Australian Aborigine. And then we talked about that terrible story. And then now we're asking really random questions. And I think we've learned a little bit more about the universe,
Definitely. I've learned a lot more about you as well.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like the bowl of petunias, right? It's like, why did it think, oh, no, not again? Like, if we knew that, we'd know way more about the universe.
Yeah.
The real trick is knowing who got that reference.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you really should have gotten that Douglas Adams reference, but I'm going to sit here in my disappointment now.
Look, you know I'm a failure when it comes to stuff like that. Did you like that little video I sent you about the Chewbacca thing?
I did,
I
and
thought
it
you
is
loved
true.
that. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. I hope everyone has a great week. And I'm hoping I'll get my results back. I don't know how long they'll take, but if they're back for next, if I get them back this week, I'll be announcing everything next
I thought it
Sunday.
takes like 2 months. It doesn't take like 2 months for that stuff to come back.
I hope not. It shouldn't do. It's cost me enough. I want my results now. I don't think
it's not a microwave. It's not like you know.
Oh, right. I'll need to look
It's
into
DNA. I mean, like, give them at least the time to get for the mail to get it. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, it's only going to Ireland, so a couple of days. Who knows? I don't know how long it'll take, but I promise I will read the results out live here for the first time on Anything Goes.
Fingers crossed. Sorry.
Sorry.
Here.
What's going on?
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed on sloth.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see now.
Sloth and
Yeah.
Aborigine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I realize as white as my fingers with the light, it's like that does not look appropriate. They're crossed, right? Like so, but the problem is like they don't cross very well.
I thought,
so,
what's
you're
going,
like, what's going on?
Now? What's
this is a family show.
Now?
Yeah.
Better stop. Anyway, yeah, sort this out.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, everyone. I'll see you all in the week. Take care and bye.